Man, Subaru fans have not had a lot to be excited about, to be honest. I mean, I have an Outback this week for review. There's some things it does really, really well, and there's some things I'm like, man, if only they would change this, or that, we could have something really special. And I could say that probably for most cars, right? No car is perfect. Subaru is known for their symmetrical all-wheel drive. They're known for their boxer engines, and they're known for not having the greatest fuel economy. So we need hybrids to help that out. You might be saying, Kirk, well, you know, we have the Solterra, the fully electric model. Make sure to check out my review on the Solterra. People like roasting it, but if you can get a good lease deal on a Solterra and you just drive around town, it's a fantastic car for that. Most Subaru drivers, they like going out into the wilderness, and they appreciate the reliability of a Subaru. But wouldn't it be nice if we had better range on a Subaru, better efficiency, better power? That's typically the thing I'm complaining about most on Subarus, is a lack of power. And so we're going to dive into this from Automotive News. We have this scoop on the upcoming hybrids for Subaru. And it's not just going to be the Forester. The Forester hybrid has been confirmed, and we'll talk more about how this hybrid system works today. We'll talk more about when to expect these hybrids to come. And if you guys are new to the channel, my name's Kirk. I talk about autos. I also review them. Check out my most recent reviews. I just came back from Nashville, Tennessee, headquarters of Nissan, where I was able to preview for you guys what's coming down the hatch for Nissan and their models, including hybrids, in the near future. Let's start breaking down this very exciting article. I mean, we know Honda, we know Toyota from the Japanese automakers. They have probably the best hybrids out there. They're very simple, they're very reliable, very efficient, especially Toyotas on the highway. Honda, that's where Honda gives up a little bit of ground, but Hondas are typically a little bit more fun to drive. So there's a give and a take there. But let's get into Subaru's hybrids. How are they going to differentiate? They are going to be quite a bit different than any other hybrid on the market. And it's very, very exciting. So what is this next generation hybrid technology? They'll give us more power, which again, it's hard for me to recommend anything without the turbocharged engine in the Subaru lineup. But anyways, we have greater motor output. So engine is the gasoline engine, motor is the electric motor, improved torque, more battery capacity, fuel economy, and better driving range. So they're going to be fixing all the things I typically complain about in Subarus that I review. So this strong hybrid system, also known as a full hybrid, draws on elements of a parallel hybrid setup pioneered in cars such as the Prius by corporate partner Toyota, which Toyota owns 20% of Subaru. So this system, in theory, will be co-developed with Toyota. Let's go back in time. We had some Subaru hybrids in the recent history. In 2013, the first generation Crosstrek hybrid. If we fast forward, it was a plug-in hybrid with good power for the Crosstrek, I would say. We had a combined 148 horsepower, but it was a plug-in hybrid, so it could run on gasoline or battery electric only. The traction motor, which is just one of two motors on there. The first motor is used for regen as well as starting up the engine. Anyways, motor generator 2, the traction motor, which drives the wheels, had an output of 118 horsepower and 149 pound-feet of torque. It added about 455 pounds to the car. But sadly, the Crosstrek only had 17 miles of range in that plug-in hybrid. In an electric mode, it could only go up to 65 miles an hour. So it definitely had major constraints. It never really was successful. It was only available in California emission standard states or ZEV states or CARB states, whatever you want to call it. There's also the e-Boxer, which is a mild hybrid in other markets like Europe and Japan. I saw a few in Japan when I was there a couple of weeks ago. But the e-Boxer mild hybrid, it was never brought to America. So Subaru is keeping the horizontally opposed boxer engine, which is a huge part of their identity, and they're mating it to a longitudinal drive shaft for mechanically connected all-wheel drive layout. So we're looking at the previous generation Crosstrek plug-in hybrid, the diagram here. So you start with a boxer engine up front. And Subarus send their power to the front wheels as well as the rear wheels to get their mechanical symmetrical all-wheel drive, and that will be carrying over with their hybrids. Toyota has elected to do in their hybrids all-wheel drive, so they have an e-axle on the back. Honda will be going to that too in the future because it's just more efficient. So Subaru's hybrids are going to keep this mechanical linkage, which is going to hurt fuel economy, but it will provide a better all-wheel drive experience compared to other hybrid competitors. And I'm glad Subaru's doing this. They don't need to have elite fuel economy. It just needs to be quite a bit better than what they have now while retaining their identity, which is the boxer engine and symmetrical all-wheel drive, and it looks like they're going to be keeping that. The new hybrids first land in Japan, but it's also designed with America in mind. We know it's coming to the Forester, and it should be coming after April 1st of 2025. But the Crosstrek actually in Japan is supposed to get this hybrid system first by the end of this year. What about America? It seems like Subaru is a bit coy talking about their plans in North America. The system has plenty of power for U.S. drivers, they reassure, and is expected to be offered in a U.S.-made Forester in the coming years. Okay, it's coming in the Crosstrek by the end of this year. It's coming in the Forester for the U.S. in the coming years, even though it's coming to Japan by the end of this year in the Crosstrek, even though we may or may not get a hybrid Crosstrek this time around, which would seem like a huge miss, especially in that segment. The only other hybrid right now is the Toyota Corolla Cross, which that powertrain blows away all the competition's powertrains. I just drove the Nissan Kicks. It's a really good car. It's just buzzy, loud, and slow as hell. The Corolla Cross hybrid smacks it around with its efficient and powerful powertrain with around 200 horsepower. If Subaru doesn't bring a hybrid Crosstrek to America, they're leaving money on the table. They're leaving money on the table because look how fast hybrids are selling. Toyota dealers, for example, say customers are waiting 3 months for their hybrids. I'm not so sure about the Camry hybrid. Maybe some of the other hybrids they have in their fleet, but I feel like since the Camry is fully hybrid now, I don't think there's a constraint or a wait time for the Camry hybrid. We know Honda and their hybrids is doing well. They're up 8.8% for the first 9 months of the year. Subaru is still up on the year, 5.6% without hybrids. Hybrids are about 9.6% of the U.S. market. Plug-in hybrids are about 2% of the U.S. market, which I'm surprised it's that high. Subaru gets 70% of its global sales from right here in the United States. It wants fully electric cars to count for half of its worldwide volume in 2030. That is insanely high. Keep in mind they only have one electric car right now. That's a Subaru Solterra that's made by Toyota at the Motomachi plant in Japan. The next Subaru EV coming out is going to be a 3-row made alongside of the electric Highlander in Kentucky. That just got delayed to 2026 now. It's hard for me to believe by 2030 Subaru, half of its lineup, or half of its sales, I should say, globally, will be battery electric, because 70% of their sales are the United States. And we know that while the electric market right now is between 8 to 10%, higher in some areas, lower in other areas in the United States. So you're telling me in 6 years, we're going to go from 9%, 10% market penetration here in 2024. And 6 years later, it's going to be 50%. I'm not buying it. The other 50% is going to be from mild hybrids and strong hybrids, but mainly strong hybrids, I would say, by 2030. And they want to apply electrification, so hybrids, to all of its models by the early 2030s. Again, some of their models could have fully battery electric alternatives. So you can have a Forester hybrid and a Forester BEV. Now, like the plug-in hybrid Crosstrek, it looks like they want to, and they are studying and investing in the development of plug-in hybrids. So don't rule out a plug-in hybrid Subaru. They've done it before. They'll probably do it again. Oh, yes. Remember earlier this year, Toyota, Mazda, Subaru, which Toyota owns portions of Subaru and Mazda, they had an electrified workshop. And in that workshop, they're saying, hey, here's how internal combustion engines can be assisted by electrification in the near future. And Subaru showed this. We know Toyota showed off their new inline 4-cylinder engines, but Subaru had this hybrid powertrain they also showed here. Obviously, this is a 4-cylinder boxer engine. And you see this high voltage cable here. We have electric motors inside here to assist with regen, but also to assist with acceleration. I don't know how Automotive News got this information. This is pure gold right here because they have specs seemingly for this strong hybrid that will be coming in the Crosstrek, that'll be coming in the Forester. It's a 2.5 liter boxer engine. If you look at Toyota's hybrids, well, they have so many different types, but the Camry, the RAV4, the Highlander, all the Lexus hybrids for the most part, and there are exceptions, but I would say the most common powertrain in Toyota's hybrids is the 2.5 liter here stateside. Not this 2 liter. So they're going to be putting a larger gasoline engine in these hybrids, and the extra 0.5 liter over the 2 liter engine gives it 158 horsepower instead of 143 horsepower. Now this is where it's interesting. It's mated to an 88 kilowatt electric motor. Now the mild hybrids use about a 10 kilowatt motor. So 88 is 118 horsepower for the electric propulsion in there. Now, Subaru said they didn't have numbers. They didn't want to share numbers for system power. But if it's using Toyota hybrid systems, they usually operate at like around 75% efficiency with the gasoline engine and electric motor combined. So I think I'm going to be able to give you guys a really good idea here of the horsepower from this Subaru 2.5 liter hybrid. So again, 118 horsepower, and then you add the 158 horsepower from the 2.5 liter boxer engine, 276, but it's not going to achieve that pure output. It's about 75% efficiency, so we're over 200 horsepower. That lines up really well with Toyota's 2.5 liter hybrids to an extent. Toyota gets more power out of them. Anywhere from, if you look at the Camry, 225 horsepower. If you look at the Sienna, which has a bigger battery pack, it's up to about 245 horsepower. Now, if Subaru adds a big battery in here, then we could get more horsepower, but it doesn't look like it. They're just going to be using a 1 kilowatt hour battery pack, which the Camry uses a roughly the same size of battery pack. Compared to the mild hybrid, the strong hybrid is 2.1 seconds faster to 62 miles an hour. So if we look at Subaru's e-Boxer here on the Forester, it takes 11.8 seconds. 11.8 seconds minus 2.1. It'll do 0 to 60 in 9.7 seconds, which is still very slow, I would say, for the North American market. 9.7 seconds is brutally slow for a hybrid. My Prius is 0 to 60 in about that time. It's a little bit slower, maybe 10 and a quarter. So it's not looking that great from an acceleration point of view, but I guess we would have to wait for the official powertrain reveal and testing to see if it's really just a 10-second 0 to. You got to keep in mind 0 to 62, which is a little bit more, right, than 0 to 60. So 0 to 60 might be closer to 9 seconds, which is still pretty slow. Toyota's 2 liter hybrid on something like a Corolla Cross does 0 to 60 in like 7.5 seconds. Okay, so Subaru's like 2 seconds behind Toyota's 0 to 62 mile an hour test, seemingly. Time will tell, though. I really hope it's not this slow, but you got to keep in mind this does have a mechanical linkage here, which adds weight. Now, look at the range you're going to be able to get. 17 gallons of fuel it can store from 13 gallons on their mild hybrids. So not only do you get a more efficient setup, you get more fuel to carry with you. So let's say Subaru gets, let's say it's getting 35 miles per gallon here. Let's say 35 miles per gallon times 17 gallon tank. We're talking about nearly 600 miles of range. Next generation hybrid production will happen at the Yajima plant in Subaru's manufacturing hub in Gunma Prefecture, just north of Tokyo. For example, that's where they build the, I don't know if it's in the Yajima plant, but within Gunma, they build like the GR86 and Subaru BRZ, for example. Anyways, to better supply the Forester, the brand's best-selling nameplate in the US, it's like month to month because sometimes the Outback outsells the Forester, sometimes the Crosstrek outsells the Forester. All-time though, all-time sales, yeah, the Forester is probably the best-selling nameplate ever for Subaru here in the United States. Subaru will add production of the hybrid version and gasoline version at the company's Indiana factory, which will start around 2026. That's a long ways from now, unfortunately. Now, that's kind of when Nissan's going to be bringing in their next generation e-Power as well. So Subaru will have more competition when they come out this hybrid in a couple of years. But if they're able to produce this in Japan until manufacturing gets started in Indiana in 2026, then we could have hybrids, a Crosstrek hybrid and a Forester hybrid as early 2025, mid 2025. So Crosstrek, like I said, goes in a hybrid. Crosstrek hybrid goes in production this year. Why can't we get it imported into the United States? Forester hybrid goes into production sometime next year. Why can't we get that imported in the United States to carry us over until we can start making it in Indiana? So, yeah. The way it is, we're probably just gonna have to wait. Knowing Subaru, they're not seemingly in any hurry. Their sales are still good despite not having any hybrids. This could fix their acceleration in theory, right? Initial numbers that I ran doesn't get me too excited for it, but it could. It definitely will help. How much I don't know, but any help, any bone that can get thrown at Subarus to help them not feel like their wheels are in quicksand, I'm all for that. And then also better fuel economy. I'm excited for it. Subaru's keeping its identity with boxer engines and mechanical all-wheel drive. I think people are going to really, really gobble these things up. Let me know down below what you think about Subaru's hybrids. Are you going to lose patience and just go buy a hybrid from Toyota or Honda or the Koreans, for example? Subaru has really high brand loyalty. So I think a lot of Subaru people will just wait till these hybrids are available in a couple of years. All right. I'm going to shut it down there. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe for more Subaru updates. Hopefully you can get the WRX TS on the channel soon. Hopefully it comes in the press fleet soon so I can review it for you guys. So thank you guys for your time. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.